Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Welcome to this meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the City of Quinte West. As our name implies, we are an advisory committee, and our duty is to report and advise on all matters that fall within our mandate, and to recommend such actions to council as may be deemed necessary. We are not able to bind or compel council to any recommendation we may discuss or make. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest to be declared? I see none. With that, we will go to the approval of the agenda of meeting of tonight for December 11th, 2023. Have a mover by committee member DeLine and a seconder by committee member Cost. All those in favor? Carried. Next is the approval of minutes of the meeting of November 13th, 2023, which I believe each of you have a copy of. Once again, moved by Councillor Freeman, seconded by committee member Robbins. All those in favor? Carried. Do we have any delegations and presentations at this time? No. Public input. Is there anybody here for public input? No? Okay.
Sally.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, items for the committee's consideration. A is a site plan review, file number D11T07/23, 20 South Street, Hastings County Affordable Housing, from Katie Whitehead, area planner.
Through the chair, the site plan provided with the agenda this evening shows a 3-story apartment building consisting of 32 residential units with associated on-site parking, 6 of which of the parking spaces are accessible. The proposed residential development would be owned and operated by Hastings County's Housing Division, and I'm here tonight to take your comments and recommendations back to the developer. So I'm open to hearing any of your comments that you may have on the site plan in front of you.
Okay, do we have any discussion or comments at this time? Committee member Robbins.
Good evening. Good evening. I was just wondering if you could tell us how many accessible bathrooms are in this building. Do you know at this time?
Through the chair, at this time I haven't seen the interior drawings of the building. That's something that would come with the actual submission of the building permits, and it would have to comply with the Ontario Building Code.
At that time, will we be seeing those plans so that we can make some comments?
Through the chair, I don't believe that the building permits do come back to this committee. No, it's just site plan review. So that's out of this this committee's review.
Committee member Kloss.
How many units are expected to be in this building with six accessible parking lots spaces?
Through the chair, there will be 32 residential units in this building.
Committee member Vice Chair Kloss.
Are there plans for there to be a parking spot for each unit, or do we know that yet? I know a lot of new buildings are planning to not have like space per unit.
So through the chair, that's not something that we can control under the zoning of the property. That's up to Hastings County to assign parking to the units. We can't control how they're assigned and if they decide to assign them. What I will say about the accessible parking spaces is that they're only required to have 2 under the city's current zoning bylaw, but they've provided 6, so they're actually in excess of the zoning bylaw.
Smith.
Can you tell whether the curbing along the back there is ramp curbing? I noticed that there had the 6 spaces for the 32 units, and they had curbing and loading and at parking. So I was wondering if those were rollover curbs for accessible.
Through the chair, it just says curb cut, so I'm not sure what they'll actually be doing there. But that's definitely something I can take back to the developer and have them adjust that accordingly.
And the other thing that I noted was that the snow storage is next to a curb cut that has the tactile warning, so I'm assuming that will be an accessible spot for people to get up onto the sidewalk. Wondering if
If
there's
anyone's speaking,
anywhere
we
else.
can't hear.
Sorry, I was wondering if there was anywhere else that, it's over on the far, yeah, it's over on the side next to George Street. Katie?
Through the chair, so where they've shown the snow storage, Hastings County anticipates that not all of the residents living in this building will actually have vehicles. So that's why they are showing
can hear
temporary
nothing
snow
up here.
storage. Oh, yeah, it is on. I'm not sure. Sorry, through the chair. The parking spaces near the George Street, they're shown as temporary snow storage just because Hastings County has indicated that not all of the residents will have vehicles that they anticipate at this time anyway. So I don't believe there's any actual curbing around those parking spaces there. Just the accessible ones at the top end of the site.
Okay, any further discussion? Sorry, Committee Member Robbins.
I know that you don't have the interior design or plan, but will there be an elevator in this building?
Through the chair, at this time, I'm not certain if there will be an elevator. That would be under the Ontario Building Code if they'd be required to have an elevator inside the building, and that would be something they'd be looking at, again, with their building permit submission.
Okay, is there any further discussion on it? I don't think I've heard any recommendations as such. So, okay, would we like to have a motion to have Louise forward our discussion on for
Or we can just receive
the
it.
staff, or should we just receive this? If you make a motion, then Louise will pass it on, our discussion tonight.
I think if we receive it now, it'll be fine. And if more items for discussion come up later, we'll be will be here.
I'll make a motion to receive.
Oh, Councillor Freeman? Okay, need a seconder. And Committee Member Robbins, that we accept the report as given to us?
That the, yeah, that we
Receive and file the report. All those in favor? Motion is carried. We will move on to B, which is a site plan review for 6 Douglas Road by 10002268831 Ontario Incorporated. And once again, Katie Whitehead, area planner.
Through the chair, this site plan shows a 4-story hotel, which consists of 77 rooms and associated on-site parking. In total, 84 parking spaces are provided, with 4 of the spaces being accessible stalls, 2 of which are type A, the van accessible spaces, and the other 2 are 2 standard accessible spaces. Again, here to answer any questions or hear any recommendations for the developer.
I know I have one question, at least at the start. I went up to Douglas Road to try and take a look where the building would be situated and trying to picture it. And it is incorporated, I believe, with several other buildings up there. And I understand there's going to be events taking place as well. Are the number of accessible parking spaces solely for the hotel, or could they get used by somebody attending another event or building?
Through the chair, so this hotel is actually on its own site. While it's called 6 Douglas Road, it is currently being assigned a new 911 number through the Public Works Department. So these accessible spaces are for the hotel, and the other, the Homestead Marketplace, which is actually 6 Douglas Road. The development you see happening right now has its own accessible spaces for those commercial buildings there.
Okay, that clears it up for me, because I was trying my darndest to find 6 and I finally found it. A lot of buildings up there don't have numbers on them, but that answers my question. Anybody else?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair, it's wonderful. I see there's 77 rooms and we need them desperately in Quinte West, so that's great news.
Yes, that sounds like great news to us, that we need the rooms. Committee Member Robbins?
I was just wondering if you could tell me whether the main entrance has sliding doors for better accessibility, and if in fact all the doors are like that, or it's just the main entrance. And how wide are the sidewalks leading from the accessible parking spaces to the front door?
Through the chair, I do believe that they are sliding doors at the main entrance. I'm not certain about the other points of access into the building, if they will be sliding doors or not. And then in terms of the walkway, so right out of the parking spaces, it's a 1.8 meter walkway, and then as they approach the front doors, the main entrance there is 2.4 meters.
Any further questions or discussion? Have a motion to receive the, receive the report. Oh, and file it. Moved by Committee Member Deline, seconded by Councillor Sharp. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. This will take us now to C. We're busy tonight. Site plan review, 956A Old Highway 2, Conan Nurseries Incorporated, Dale Egan, Area Planner. Open for discussion.
Through the chair, the site plan in front of us this evening is for 956A Old Highway 2. It's a proposed redevelopment for Conan Nurseries. There is 130 parking spaces provided, and 6 of those spaces will be accessible parking spaces. The proposed development will result in about 3,000 square meters of greenhouse area, which will be open to the public. So we are here for any questions or comments you may have tonight.
Okay, once again, on this one, I have a small concern of my own. I don't know whether we can make it a recommendation, but having been to this business in previous years, it's the number of accessible parking spaces. It seemed to me like with the 6 and their location, almost to me anyways, that it could be doubled right there. So there was 2 side by side to give you 12, because I'm finding more and more people are using accessible spaces. And while it may fulfill all the legalities and everything, it seems to me more and more that I know if I'm having a bad day, I go out and I can't get a spot. And the time to do it would be at the start as opposed to later on. That's just my opinion. Committee member Klost.
Around the parking area, it says existing asphalt area to be resurfaced. Do we know yet, will it be resurfaced in asphalt or something that is wheel-friendly, or is it going to be pebble, gravel?
Through the chair, based on the site plan, it does describe on the plan that that area is to be asphalted. So that is my understanding at this point in time, that it will be asphalt.
Committee member Robbins.
In regards to the accessible parking spaces, I'm wondering, I see the width, however, there's no hashtag around there. Are they accessible to an oversized van? And is there going to be space? Because some vans open up on the right, some open up on the left, and some open up the back. So we want to make sure that there's enough space around the parking area so people can access both. Because as we know that people have been in a van and somebody's parked closer to them and they haven't been able to get out.
Through the chair, the zoning bylaw does require that they do provide an aisle. So we will take that back to the developer to ensure that that's included on the site plan.
Any further comment? I don't know how to do this, new to this. I almost would like to see something from the committee, at least in writing, recommending about the accessibility parking spots, so that there's something down. Like I say, I've run into so many problems lately with getting a spot.
Are the 6 accessible parking spaces the minimum allowed for 130 total? It seems like not very many.
Through the chair, the bylaw requires 4 spaces with the number of parking spots that they've shown here, or 4% of the spaces to be the accessible spots. So they are at the minimum that's required in the zoning bylaw.
Okay, I guess we need either a recommendation that we send that on or that we accept it and file it. It's up to the committee.
So we currently have a motion on the floor that the committee's comments be provided to the developer in writing. I don't have any, that was moved by Chair Smith. Did anyone want to second that?
Seconded by Committee Member Robbins.
Okay.
Just for clarity, can I carry on with the motion, seeing I made it?
Yep.
Okay, so we will forward this on to the developer about their concerns over the number of spaces. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Printed information. Accessibility Advisory Committee Terms of Reference as amended. A. That's the first one?
You don't have to go,
Oh,
if anybody's got comments about them, they can.
yeah. Any comments, just let me know. B is Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting schedule for 2024. Do we have? Yeah. And C is the ramp report for October of 2023. If there's any discussion, if not, we need a motion to receive and file the items A to C. Committee Member Robbins.
I motion that the printed material be accepted by the committee.
Okay, we need a seconder. Councillor Freeman. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. This brings us to new or other business, and we'll start with the verbal update regarding the 2024 meeting schedule.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, through you to the committee. I just wanted to point out that on the 2024 meeting schedule as provided, we have Thursday, December 19th listed. However, there is a conflict with the meeting space, so we need to reschedule that particular meeting to Monday, December 9th, 2024 at 5 p.m. if the committee doesn't have an issue with moving that one meeting to a Monday night.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing in December next year yet, but
I will, of course, be sending invites out to everyone, but this is for us to be able to book the room and make sure that we are on the calendar.
so I guess we need a mover. Moved by Committee Member Robbins and a seconder by Committee Member Kloss. I got lots. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Okay. Another B is a verbal update, once again by Louise.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the committee. I did want to provide a verbal update on the Buster Elliott Children's Garden project. As you can see, it is currently under construction. I am attempting to have representation attend the February meeting to discuss with us how the design meets the requirements of the design of public spaces standard. I have been assured that during the tendering process that was one of the requirements that had to be fulfilled. So even though we didn't get a look at the design prior to the actual approval and construction of it, they feel that it will meet accessibility requirements. The other update that I want to give you is that the virtual welcome kiosk has been installed in the main floor of the lobby. I do encourage your committee members to test it whenever you're in the building during normal operating hours and report back on your experience with testing it, okay? And that is all that I have to update you on.
Okay, do we have a mover to accept the verbal update on the park? Moved by Committee Member Deline and seconded by Committee Member Kloss. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. I have something under new business that I'd like to bring up to the committee and, if necessary, make a motion about. On the first Sunday of this month was International Persons with Disabilities Day, which I wasn't actually aware of until I read something in the paper. And Belleville was handing out awards to businesses and individuals who had contributed, I guess, the best to the disabilities of people for access and that. I don't know whether we would be interested in climbing on the bandwagon with Belleville or on our own, but I thought it'd be very nice if we had some businesses in Trenton that we could award something to. It would be nice. And I would imagine they're going to be again next year on the first Sunday of December. I'm bringing it up now so we have time, because I imagine, like, if we had awards, of course, they would cost a little bit of money. So we'd probably have to go to council. Committee Member Kloss.
What this committee has done in the past on the International Day for Persons with Disabilities was to go to the high schools and do a presentation with somebody who lives with disability. So we've had an Olympian, we've had entrepreneur, we've had 3 or 4 different speakers. And of course, you know, during COVID that changed, but we have always acknowledged it before and marked it, and maybe switching to an award system might be time. Don't know, one of our previous committee members did the reaching out and arranging and planning and everything, and we kind of have dropped that ball now that he's gone.
Just for the committee's information, I did try to secure a speaker for us for this year. However, we weren't able to get anybody to come in the budget that we have.
All right, Councillor Sharp. We can't hear you.
Okay, now,
Okay,
go ahead, Karen.
My audio is not working, but I've heard everything and I've read everything and voted on these reports. But I do want to speak to the chair's suggestion, and I think it is important that we recognize that particular time. And I like what Louise and others and Betty have indicated. And I know that Belleville had the awards, but you know, let's see if we, as this committee, maybe could work on a staff report or work together to see what works for Quinte West. And but very important, and I'm really glad our chair has brought this up. And I just want to acknowledge that. And let's see what we can do before next year in December to recognize this very important day. Thank you.
thank you.
I apologize, Chair.
Thank you, and I guess what I'm sort of concerned about is how do we get something organized without waiting until November or something, whether we should have something written somewhere, I'm not sure. That's what I'm looking for, is help on how to do this. Committee Member Robbins.
I think in previous years, we just basically had an ad hoc committee and attached it to one of our meetings so that we could problem solve and come up with some ideas and such. So we could add it to the agenda early in the year and continue on each meeting to add a little bit of time that we could discuss this issue.
That sounds like good to me, and realizing we generally only schedule 4 meetings, I am thinking that, like, be very well needed in one of the first 2 of March or the next one.
So for the year 2024, Chair Smith, we will be meeting every other month. So we do have 6 meetings scheduled for 2024. I can add it to the agenda for the February meeting, and you can have an open discussion on it then, okay?
That's fine with me, then, that we can, and the ad hoc committee sounds like a real good thing to try and get something going, and if we can, I was sort of thinking if people out in the community hear about it as well, it's good. Any other new business, then? Oh. Committee Member Robbins.
I motioned that we have this on our agenda for February and for the months after that. I motion that we put it on the agenda for the next year so that we can discuss International Disability Day.
Okay, so we have a motion to have it on our February meetings minutes, or agenda, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of it. A seconder, Councillor Sharp, and all those in favor, and opposed, if any. Motion is carried. And now I guess we'll look for any more new business.
I have something.
Oh, Councillor Sharp.
Through Sally's phone,
Yeah.
I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we thank you so very much.
You're here.
Well, hopefully, through the chair, I want to thank you. I am the chair, but sorry about that. As the chair, I would like to hopefully express for the committee the same greetings to everybody and in the community for a safe and happy Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. To you.
Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
So
Moved
moved.
by Committee Member DeLine, seconded by Committee Member Robbins, that we adjourn. All those in favor? Carried. This meeting is adjourned.